As a therapist, I believe that we are always discovering new parts of ourselves. That is the process of being alive. New situations, new people come into our life and show us different parts of ourselves, which we had no knowledge of before. I like to think that this goes on throughout our whole life, and that this is one of our great responsibilities as human beings, to continue to know who we are and to become responsible for who we are. In today's episode, Melissa discovers something about herself that she had no idea of, and she is willing to explore, to discover, to experiment, and to try and understand who she is. Before we start the episode, I do want to say that this episode includes discussion of alcoholism and abuse. Please take care of yourselves as you listen to the following episode. I'm Mauricio Bruce, and this is The Real Question. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. You know how we start. Before you get to ask me a question, I ask you if you could share or if you could tell us anything about yourself. What would you like to share?
I guess it would be that I am a brand new indie author of romantasy, which for those who don't know is the hyphenation or the combination of fantasy romance. So yeah, that's been my passion and something that I have discovered recently in the last year, that I love writing and love writing fiction and love being an indie author in that genre.
I mean, hats off. Congratulations. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
So let's do a little bit of promo. What's the name of your book?
The Knowing Witch.
And do you want to tell me just a little hint about what the plot is?
Yes, it's about a witch named Enna who is gifted a dark, forbidden power by her goddess. And she's kind of struggling to find her path in life and her place among the coven because her gift is forbidden, until she crosses paths again with her first love. And she kind of gets dragged into this scheme with him and starts to question what she knows. And so she's kind of drawn further and further away from what she was taught and learns to embrace a different path.
Okay. I want to say all kinds of things and ask all kinds of questions, and I'll just, get the book.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
So we didn't come here to talk about The Knowing Witch, although I do have a feeling she'll pop up again, but I want to hear what your question is today.
Well, over the course of this past year, I have actually discovered that I am bisexual after having lived the past 33 years of my life thinking that I was straight. And this all kind of came about because I developed feelings for a woman in my life, someone who started as a friend, but I quickly knew it was more than that. I brought it up to my husband, who I am currently married and have been for about 7 years. We've been together for about 15 years, so since I was 17. And based on a lot of different reasons, not just my discovered bisexuality and feelings for this woman, we've actually decided to divorce. So I am now in the midst of divorcing him and separating our lives, which is very complicated in and of itself. But the question I want to bring today is basically, should I embrace dating this woman and commit to embracing that bisexual side of me? And what does that look like for my future if I do?
Wow, beautiful question. Thank you so much for bringing this to us. And I'm so sorry about the divorce. It's always hard. A partner of however many years, I think you said it was 15 years.
Yes.
Even if that relationship has come to its natural end, is still a painful thing to do.
Thank you.
But we're also making room for the curiosity of this thing that is starting in your life and that has started. And so I want to ask you a little bit of context to try and understand this person, this this woman that you've developed feelings for. How long has she been in your life? What is the context in which she's been in your life? I'm curious how this started.
I'm going to use some pseudonyms just in order to protect her identity a little bit. But we met back in February through the course of my work.
Okay.
Quickly developed a friendship around a lot of shared hobbies and shared interests. She lives far away. She doesn't live near me. So it was mostly an online development of a relationship.
Yeah.
And so I met her, and for the first time, just kind of knew that I felt those crush feelings for her that I typically had only felt for men in the past.
Yeah.
And that kind of developed, and it actually turned out that the feelings eventually became mutual.
So she and you have spoken about this?
Yes, she knows that I have feelings for her. She also reciprocates and has feelings for me.
Amazing.
We've actually since met in person one time, so I know the feelings also extend to, the chemistry also extends to in person. So yeah.
And so you're 33 and you've discovered that the person you thought you were wasn't complete, right? There's a new part of you that's sort of appearing through your interactions with this woman. And I'm wondering, before we even go anywhere, what does that feel like to know that at 33, you're still discovering who you are?
It's wild. I had no idea. I've been with the same man since I was 17 and thought that he was my one true love and that we were good to go forever. And that did not transpire the way that I thought that it would. And even if that had not transpired the way that I thought that it would, and that was the only revelation, I think that would be a lot to deal with.
Yes.
But throw on top of that the fact that I also do like women and never really knew that at all or gave that much consideration. But now it's like that thing where you go back over your past and you're like, oh, wait, maybe that was a sign. Maybe that was a sign. Maybe that was also a sign. And all these things you're like, and I just don't know how I could have been so blind to it for so long. So it's wild.
It is wild. I want to make room for the fact that we're always continuously discovering who we are, right? We're not a fixed thing that we know from the beginning, but constantly as we move through life and as life changes us, we discover new parts of ourselves. And I think the fact that you've called us as you discover this new part of yourself is very exciting. So tell me what's going through your head. Okay, you are separating your life from your husband. You have this friendship with a woman who lives very far away, but whom you've developed feelings for. And I'm wondering, what's your impulse right now? Like, if you could do anything, what would you want to do?
I want to be around her more. I would love to have her move out here and be able to see her on a daily basis. But I'm also really scared to do that for a lot of different reasons. I mean, one of the big ones being that I have kids, and it feels like a big deal to introduce any new person at all into my kids' lives. That's a big step.
Yes.
And then also doing that and embracing that and pursuing a more committed relationship with her and maybe even living with her one day also feels scary because then I have to be outwardly queer. I think right now I've very much accepted that I am inwardly queer. And I think people close to me are starting to know that. But it's also a lot for people close to me to absorb. And I don't know, I guess I worry about what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
And if it will work out with her. So there's a lot. Maybe that was too many.
No, those are the fears that are in your mind. And so let's talk about what's been said between her and you. You guys have been talking a lot online. You met once, and I'm wondering what's been spoken about. Has she offered to move to where you are? Is she or are you pushing for a serious relationship? Like, what has been discussed already, if anything?
I think we are definitely the stereotypical lesbian couple, and that we've already said I love you. So love has already been declared. And I do feel that. And I think we've discussed, because of a lot of extenuating circumstances with her job, it's not really possible for her to move out here for at least another year.
Okay.
But we have discussed potentially then when her contract on her current job situation ends, if things are still going well with us, having her move out here and be closer, like maybe even potentially move into my house at that point because my husband will no longer live here. So yeah, that's what's been discussed.
Okay. So you've already talked about a possible future, even, a year away. But that gives us a year for you to sort of explore this person that you're discovering, for you to understand who you are, how you can be comfortable in this new body before you have to bring it out into the world in a way.
Yes, I think that's true. And I think that I do feel grateful to have that time and have like, okay, well, nothing's really going to advance for a year. But I guess I also wonder what to do in that interim. Like, yes, I have feelings for this woman and she's wonderful and I do really love her and could potentially see a future with us. But I've spent my last 15 years with one man.
Yes.
And this will be my first time being single in 15 years.
Yes.
So I also, part of me thinks like, should I be dating in the course of this year? Should I explore what other options are out there? Do I want to limit myself right now to just being committed with her? Or do I want to date? Do I want to date men and women? And if so, I don't know if she would be okay with that. So yeah.
Yeah. So when you think of dating women, what happens? When you think of like, I'm going to be single now, so I'm going to, go meet other women whom I could explore myself with.
It feels strange. It feels strange to think that I would date any other women because she's the only woman that I've had these types of feelings for. So I think it feels strange to see myself going on dates with additional women besides her. It feels a little bit exciting. It definitely feels a little bit like that could be fun to see what's out there and to see what other kinds of people I connect with in a romantic way.
So it feels fun, but it also feels strange.
Yes.
What about men? You said dating women or men. If you imagined going out there and meeting other men, would it still feel strange? Would it still feel fun?
I think it would still feel, it wouldn't feel strange. It would feel mostly fun, but I feel like I'm a little gun shy. I mean, I don't want to group all men ever into one category. Obviously, men are different, but generally, there tend to be qualities associated with men that I feel like I'm a little bit gun shy about because of some of the bad things that happened in my marriage. Avoidant behavior, like emotional unavailability. Also had some alcohol abuse issues. Not to say that women don't also have those issues. They absolutely do. But just in my experience, those things tend to be a little more prevalent with men. So I feel like dating them would be comfortable and could potentially be fun and exciting, but also a little bit scary.
So thank you for sharing that. And before we move forward, you just talked about some of the stuff that went on in your marriage. You said some alcohol abuse and some emotional unavailability. And I just would love to hear sort of the ground you were standing on before and some of what was going on there before we move forward, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, sure. So, as I said, we've been together for 15 years. And over the past, I want to say, 5 to 7 years, there's been like kind of increasing alcohol abuse and erratic behavior from my husband that would kind of come and go in waves. And I think I spent a really long time excusing the things that happened because I loved him. And I also knew that no relationship was perfect and every relationship had its issues. So for a really long time, I was like, well, this bad thing happened and it didn't feel good, but we would kind of reconcile. He would make promises to be better. and I would believe him, and then things wouldn't get better. And then we would be right back where we started, several months ago. This also got exacerbated once we had kids, and it became increasingly hard to feel like I had a reliable partner in him, because sometimes he would be really reliable and sometimes he would be great. And then he would have an episode where he would get too drunk to help me take care of the kids, or he would get kind of angry, sometimes a little bit violent, and like break things. And it took me a while. Actually, it took me until meeting this woman that I have feelings for to realize that those things were actually not okay. And she was a big part in helping me to understand they were not okay and helping me to see them for what they were, which was, a type of abuse. And I think that generally the type of men that I have been attracted to in the past would probably also fit that. I guess I worry that the type of men that I'm attracted to and have been attracted to and would be attracted to in the future would also kind of fit that same mold. And I feel scared to fall into something like that again. So dating women feels very different and good in those kinds of ways.
I just want to recognize, you just said it, right? But there was an abusive relationship that you were in. There was anger, there was violence, there was promises to get better that weren't fulfilled. There was erratic behavior. There was this unsafety of reliable versus unreliable. There were all these things that were making your life feel unstable. Right?
Yes.
And so you say the kind of man that I'm attracted to has some of those qualities. And I know all men are different, but I'm afraid to sort of land in this again. And I just want to make space for the idea that not all men are abusive, and that dating a man doesn't have to mean being in an abusive relationship. I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Thank you. And what you just said hit really hard. So I do wonder if that's like part of my fears with everything.
Yeah. I hear this duality that you're creating where you tell me men are unsafe because of this. And what I found with this woman was really safe, and it was emotional availability, and it was someone who saw me and who was there for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm also hearing this woman helped me discover a part of myself, helped me discover this attraction for women, because I'm not trying to deny that you're attracted to her. I think you're very attracted to her. And you've even, like you said, declared love. But I'm also hearing that Melissa is really looking for safety, for emotional safety, for physical safety, for safety and love.
Yes.
And you said, with your ex, I really loved him, and so I forgive some of the things that he did. This was really bad. It felt wrong, but now he's good, and so I love him, and I'm just going to give him another chance. And I want to believe that being unsafe is never a part of love. That you always deserve safety in love.
Yes, I agree.
So I'm very glad that you've been able to extract yourself from that situation and move your kids out of that situation as well.
I do want to add the context that over the last several months, we have actually, me and my family and his family have really pushed him to get sober, and he is now in therapy and has been sober for several months.
No, that's wonderful. I really hope that through therapy and with the help of a therapist, he can find and heal what he needs to heal.
Yeah.
But I'm also really glad that you were able to find this space for yourself where you are now starting to feel safe in love.
Yes.
What I'm hearing also, and I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put this in the form of a question, is what is Melissa looking for in any relationship in the future?
I mean, everything that you said about safety, that really hit hard. I think I do want to feel safe and stable, and like I have somebody who I can rely on, because having kids is really hard, and I have to be that steady ship for my kids who are very young and still tantrums and big feelings. So I have to be the rock, and I want someone who can be the rock for me. But in general, beyond that, I do want someone who's, supportive and allows me to be my full self, however that may change. I want someone that I can have fun with. And also, when I list all of those things, I feel like I feel all those things for the woman that I already have in my life and that I have feelings for. And so maybe I feel like I should maybe trust that and not feel like I need to push myself to see what else is out there if I feel like she already provides those things for me.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And I'm wondering, I just want to explore the idea. You've come from a place of a lot of danger, where you felt unstable every day. Every day was a question. Is it going to go that way? Isn't it going to go this way? What's the day going to hold for me? And I'm wondering, how have you created stability for yourself?
This is something my therapist asked me about, or that she encourages me to
Surprise.
do as well. Where, to say that I have to rely on creating my own stability. And that's, I don't know. I mean, I think that when I have control over my environment, I can also have more control over my kids and making sure that I can provide the stable and safe household that they need. That makes me feel like I can be steady. I think also having an array of people that I can rely on. And I do have that. I have close friends and family. And I think maybe learning to rely on them a little bit more rather than just the one person in my life, just my partner, I think could be helpful.
I just want to explore the possibility that you've just ended a relationship and you're thinking about starting a new one, which I think is beautiful because you're exploring a new part of yourself. And I just don't want your stability and your safety and your support to go from one person to the next person. I would love for you to spend some time. I'm not suggesting you don't explore the relationship, but you did say this person couldn't move to where you are for another year. And I wonder if rather than thinking, oh, well, I have a year, so I could date some other women or I could date some other men, if there is some space here in this year for you to build a space for yourself where you can feel some support, some stability, some safety just in being you.
I feel attacked, but in a good way. Yes. I think you are so correct. I think you've hit the nail on the head. And it makes a lot of sense to me because I think the reason that I latched on to my husband so hard at 17 is that I have always romanticized love and relationships and wanted to live into that idea of somebody else completing me and having that one true love bond. But I agree that in real life, it's maybe not the healthiest thing. And that I do need to cultivate my own sense of safety and stability within myself first.
Yeah, that's beautiful. In our lives, we have to create spaces where we can feel stability and safety and support and where I can be me fully so that I can go out there and meet that person who's going to meet me there. If not, I always keep looking for someone, like you just said, who will complete me, who will be that anchor or that support or that, and not to say that they can't be, but if they become your support, then when they leave, you're left supportless. And so I wonder, what would the knowing witch do?
What would Enna do? Oh, gosh. Well, she would embrace the unknown. That's the whole theme of the book, is learning to lean into the things that scare you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to me, it would be being by myself, being alone is scary.
Yeah.
But leaning into that as kind of a necessity right now, I think makes a lot of sense for me.
So It is my job to bring us back to the should I embrace dating this woman question that you brought us. And I'm wondering what you're feeling about that right now.
I'm feeling like I don't see any reason to cut her out of my life by any means. I think she's a presence and a force of good in my life.
Absolutely. It sounds that way.
But to also don't feel like I need to go right into throwing my whole self into this relationship as the next thing in my life, but keep it where it is for now while I cultivate my own, as you said, sense of safety, stability, identity. Yeah.
It's still about getting to know yourself and creating spaces that nurture you and that help you grow.
And I think that also relates to like the question that I had about coming out to my family and being openly in a relationship with another woman. I think I need to get to a place where I feel more comfortable doing that. And I think that starts at home.
That's right.
And then when I have that, I think it will be easier to be me to everybody.
I agree. And I think that's a beautiful adventure for the next year or so.
Yes.
I encourage you on that adventure. And I'd like to offer my support and my help if you ever need it.
I really appreciate that. This was a really helpful, not where I thought the question was going to go. And you always make it that way, Mauricio. Whenever I listen to the show, it always just, you sneak around. But yeah, this was really good and really helpful. And I really needed it right now because there's a lot of big changes happening. And I think if I go into them with intention of, it's not just about, trying to find a new job so that I can support my kids or being with this new woman so that I'm not alone. It's more about cultivating my own sense of identity and safety through those things. Obviously, I still am going to pursue both of those things, but the focus is me and not the external things that I'm trying to achieve.
It's not using those external things or those external people to tell you who you are, but it's more about bringing yourself to those external places to confirm or to explore who you think you're becoming. Does that make sense?
It does. I think that's really beautiful.
I'm really excited to see what you discover, and I'm going to offer to call you in about 3 months and see how you're doing, if that's okay.
That sounds great. I would really love that.
Thank you, Melissa, for this beautiful question and this great conversation. This has been The Real Question. Our show is funded through our Patreon at patreon.com/realquestionpod. If you haven't been to Patreon, I'm just gonna keep suggesting that you stop by and visit. There are so many good perks. You get to hear me and our guests more. We do special little Patreon episodes. I just think you should stop by Patreon. Another way you can support this show is by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Real Question Pod. And we are always looking for more guests, so go to our website, realquestionpod.com, and submit a question. I would love to have a conversation with you right here on the show. We love to shout out our BFF tier patrons, Renee Underhill, Amanda Schramm, Christina Igu Brandon, Jackson Paul Keeley. Thank you. We are a Not Sorry production. Our co-executive producers are Vanessa Zoltan and Ariana Nettleman. We are edited and produced by Ariana Nettleman. Music is by Nick Bowl, and we are distributed by Acast. Support for this show comes from the Fetzer Institute. Thank you, Melissa, for joining us today. Thank you for bringing this question. Thank you for bringing your exploration, your vulnerability, and for showing us all your bravery and your curiosity. And thanks as always to our wonderful team, Julia Argy, Nikki Zoltan, AJ Yaramas, Anissa Ahmed, Danny Langley, Courtney Brown, Casper Turkile, and Stephanie Paulsell. If you or someone you know is experiencing intimate partner violence, please look for resources at thehotline.org, where you can find emails, phone numbers, and even chats to get in touch with specialists who can help you.